Hello and welcome to the It's All Worth It podcast. My name is Bill Ivers and I'm here with my wife Maria.
Hello.
And this is our very first episode. We're going to be calling this the Unwind show. We are going to do this every time we do an excursions, whether it's a long trip or a short outing. We're going to do it as often as we can to sort of recap what we've experienced. And on this occasion, we've just come back from a road trip. By the way, this is we're doing this. This is the real deal. We are doing this in our house. We have a mic set up. Our kids just went to bed.
You can hear our son in the background.
Yes, our son has just started to put himself to sleep by singing opera. So he's howling, but he's trying to go to sleep, which is a good thing. Our other two kids are unwinding themselves with no wine, by the way. Here we are. We're going to give this a whirl. So if you might hear doors opening, in fact, you might hear the dryer beep at any moment. But we just got back from a road trip. It's every year we seem to go to get on a plane, go to Florida or something like that. But this year we decided to do a road trip.
Yeah, our son, he's a hockey player, so we had to kind of plan things between his tournaments and practices and stuff. So we had a couple days during February break while our kids were not in school. So we just kind of decided to do some a last minute trip, which we started off in Vermont.
Mm-hmm. And if we sound exhausted, it's because we are. I'm actually excited to go back to work tomorrow. It'll be nice and relaxing. Vacationing, as many of your parents know, can be very, very hard. I have a friend, Alex Caldwell, known by a pseudonym often as Tin Can Caldwell. He wrote a book called No Vacation Goes Unpunished, and I absolutely feel that from time to time. But it's definitely something we love to do, regardless of how hard it is sometimes. So. Yeah, so we started, we loaded up the car, and, my wife usually plans the vacation. She's very good at that. And this was really one where I just sort of said, all right, well, where are we going? And so it turned, I did have a vague idea, but it turns out we headed to Stowe, Vermont, a resort called the Trapp Family Lodge. Yes, that Trapp family.
The one from Sound of Music, if your children have ever seen that. Our children have seen it, and they enjoyed it, and we made sure, as we packed up the minivan, that we had the DVD player ready so that the kids could watch it along the way, which was great. So lots of singing in the back seat and all of that. So they were kind of looking forward to that. And Bill and I have actually never gone there, and it was actually, we assumed it would be nice, but it was nicer than we thought. So we were pretty impressed. So it was, how long did it take us to get there?
3 hours, right?
I think it was probably less than that, probably like closer to 2.
Okay.
So we started off there. Along the way, we stopped off at the Ben & Jerry's plant, and we took, got the kids out of the car. It's only about 15 minutes down the road, right? Is it actually in Stowe, Vermont?
I think it is. Yeah, it's pretty close.
So that was kind of nice. So before we checked in, we stopped off at Ben & Jerry's, and we did the tour, which is relatively inexpensive, probably less expensive than their ice cream. And they do give you a little sampling, a sample as you're on the tour. Of course, our kids, that wasn't good enough for them, so we had to get them, a $5 ice cream that was probably the size of half a scoop. And but they kind of enjoyed that. They show you essentially how they make their ice cream. They talk a lot about their flavors and all the products that are in their ice cream, and then they talk about a lot of the things that they do. Ben & Jerry's are, they're very about the planet and all the things that they try to preserve and protect the
very
planet.
Socially conscious, which is nice.
Yeah, which is pretty cool, and it's a really cool sight to see. Our kids really enjoyed it, even our 3-year-old. had fun. It's very kid friendly. And a nice little thing to do if you're on your way somewhere and you have an hour to kill, or you're trying to get your kids out of the car, or if you're in Vermont, especially Stowe, Vermont, which is a great place to stay in Vermont, we would highly recommend kind of stopping in there and getting some ice cream and doing the tour. It's only a couple dollars, and they kind of have some, some souvenirs that you can get there too. I think we pretty much just got ice cream, but it was a nice little place to stop before we headed to the Trapp Family Lodge, which we got there probably a little after check-in time, and we kind of checked in there, and it was kind of a nice experience too. I mean, you could probably Bill and I did not have a lot of time to do this because we obviously have 3 children, but you could probably just wander the halls for hours just reading all the things on the walls about the Trapp family and their experiences. There's lots of great pictures and lots of little nooks that you can kind of hang out in and just learn more about the family itself, which was really kind of cool.
Yeah, this is getting back to the Ben & Jerry's thing, that was a great thing. It was one of those destinations that I've always wanted to get to, and amazingly, we're from New Hampshire, so we live like the state right over, but Vermont's one of those states that we just don't get to enough, and every time we go there, we're just so impressed with its beauty. I mean, just driving there was great. Just lots of scenery, and it's one of those areas of the country that has really preserved its old a lot of its tradition and what many of the things that make it great. And the Ben & Jerry's plant, I was really, I almost was expecting something bigger. I mean, it's amazing. They pump out something like 800,000 pints of ice cream a day. Was it?
No, that's a little much. I think it was closer to maybe, would you say 800,000? I think it was probably half that, maybe 400,000.
Really? It was a ridiculous statistic.
Well, in the Stowe, Vermont, the plant, they only make certain types of the Ben & Jerry's ice cream. They make more of the more popular one. When we were there, they only make one at a time. So when we were there, they were making the Tonight dough. Oh, yeah. Which, if you haven't tried that, I just tried a sample of it, but it's a good one. It has like peanut butter in it, and it has like Jimmy Fallon on the cover of it, and so they were pumping out that, and they make the same flavor for a day or a couple days depending on how much they're making. And at the Stowe, Vermont plant, they only make like maybe 4 or 5 flavors there. So there's obviously other plants too that could potentially be larger. I'm not sure.
But I was the amount of volume that they crank out of there, I was amazed at. I'm not saying it's small, but it's I just envisioned something much bigger. And we not far from the factory there is the Trapp Family Lodge, and for me, in the back of my mind, I was saying to myself, I really hope this is not a no pun intended tourist trap, and it really wasn't. The moment we drove in there, it was just totally as advertised. It was just visually stunning. It was it just had so much atmosphere and character. It was just a very unique resort, and in the vibe of the Trapp family, the Austrian vibe, the Sound of Music vibe. It's really all there. They don't. I don't think they hit you over the head with it. It's not. I was expecting to walk in there and hear it. And hear like the soundtrack playing constantly, and seeing goats everywhere. Although we did see a goat.
A live goat?
No,
it was a stuffed goat. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was just
and our
really,
kids
really
love
cool.
Goats.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, which is something you'll probably hear another
Usually
time.
living goats they prefer.
Yes, living goats. You'll see lots of pictures of our kids with goats.
Yeah, but anyhow, you could spend so much time, as Maria was saying, walking around, and that's one of the. We're going to be real in this, in the show. We got to be honest here, but with kids, sometimes you just wish you could just take a breather and stop and look at all the detail. But
Yeah, they weren't having that.
So yeah, sometimes you just simply can't. They often do not care about a picture on the wall. I mean, when we were their age, we didn't either. So you just sort of take in what you can and just sort of live in the moment. And I'd say that getting into the nitty gritty here, the service I thought was excellent.
Yeah, so we pretty much dropped off our stuff in our hotel room, and the kids were kind of hungry at that point, so we kind of headed on over to the brewery.
Well, before we get there, my first dealing with the service there was an interesting thing where, I get out of the car within like 2 minutes. I'm walking to check in, and I see what appears to be a girl, she's, I don't know, around 9 or 10. Looks like she was trying to climb onto one of the gables from the balcony of a room. And I'm looking up there. I'm like, what in the world is going on? So I run and find, the first person I see. And I say, there's a girl trying to climb on the roof or something. I don't know what she's doing, but it's not safe. And so
she climbed out a window, right?
I think she climbed off her balcony or something. And so we're all yelling. And so he runs in and, he deals with it immediately. She was back in her room, but so that was a very interesting initiation there. But we checked in; they were very pleasant. They got we often will have to ask for a crib whenever we stay somewhere, and so they got that up to our room right away, and they were certainly very very pleasant to deal with, and the room was spacious, right? What'd you say?
Yeah, decent sized. We tried to get one of the less expensive rooms because as long as it has 2 double beds or like a queen bed with a sleep sofa or something, and if our youngest can still fit in a crib, then we'll go with that to kind of save ourselves some money. But we had a sitting area, like a little breakfast nook it looked like, and a sleep sofa, and then a queen bed, which was nice. The bathroom was pretty spacious. It looked like it's been renovated relatively recently.
I don't think this is the original resort.
Yeah.
I read somewhere, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think the original lodge burnt down, and this is a rebuilt version of it. But it still captures. It still has that old, the
Austrian vibe to it.
Absolutely.
It's really cool, and
but everything's kept up rather well, so nothing seems to be falling apart or anything like that. But it still has that. It still maintains that old school vibe, which I thought was pretty charming. They actually still had some, if you can believe it. I guess they wouldn't be Christmas decorations now. More winter decorations that they've kept up, which is nice. I'm fine with winter decorations. White lights and all that. It doesn't have to be Christmas, but. And I can just imagine what it looks like around the holidays if they have a plussed version of that. I'm sure it's beautiful. It might be a nice place to visit around the holidays.
It's kind of an interesting time to travel because we were kind of hoping to get some winter activities in, but because our kids love to ice skate and do all of that snowshoeing, but it was actually pretty warm for winter in New Hampshire, Vermont, so we didn't get to do any snowshoeing. But we got to take do some trails and things like that, just walking though, because the weather was actually kind of nice. But once we kind of put everything in our room, we headed off to the brewery, which looks like it's pretty new, like it was just recently built.
Yeah, it looks brand new. Yeah.
So what was the name of that? It was called the Brew House.
Yeah, I think it was something as basic as that.
It was something very, very basic, like the brew house. And so it's essentially a brewery, and they have their own Von Trapp, beer, their own brewery, which I think you could probably tour if you want to. You can kind of see it from the brew house. Inside, you can see some of the what they use to brew the beer.
The tagline is "A little of Austria, a lot of Vermont." I've never seen it for sale, but I had some there. It was very good. I enjoyed the beer. I had two types, and it was excellent. But I was very impressed with the brewery. Just walking in there was spacious, and had a neat. It's your classic brewery restaurant. You can see through to where they actually brew the beer, and they have a basic brewery menu, pub style menu. So I got a burger, which I felt I was in safe territory by doing that, and it didn't disappoint. It was good. The fries were good.
Yeah, I tried something a little bit more.
I liked yours better.
Yeah, we did. I did like the chicken schnitzel. It had like this sauerkraut. It has more than one type of flavored sauerkraut on it, which I'm not a huge fan of sauerkraut, but I like chicken schnitzel, and it had just chicken on it with like a little bit of like fried egg and then arugula on top of that, which was really good. But they also have kind of food or kid friendly type meals too. I think when our son got a burger, and then our other two got like mac and cheese or something like that, which was fine. So they were perfectly happy with that. And the service was good. It was an overall good experience. It was and not overly expensive.
Good for kids too, because it's big, loud, pretty
Yeah.
loud, pretty energetic. So we have a 3-year-old, so he's usually good at restaurants, but he's not going to sit there with his hands folded. So, but they were, they provided him with what didn't they give him some coloring?
Yeah, I mean we usually
items.
bring stuff for him to kind of do while we were there. And the seats are kind of like tables with like benches, things like that. So pretty comfy for him to climb on or do whatever. Pretty sturdy. It's nothing fancy. But yeah, it was a good experience. And they also have like in the morning, they have what's called like it used to be a bakery, but it's called like a Tapp and tea house now. It was very cute. I almost wish we were actually hungry for breakfast because it was just this cute little Austrian inspired small restaurant, and it had like the fireplace was going, and so you can order breakfast there. I think you probably could get other meals there too, but it's pretty small. And we just got some baked goods there. I think I got like a maple and bacon scone or something.
I was a little disappointed with
coffee.
the grab and go. I was in the mood for just a coffee and maybe something light like a croissant or something like that. But they had pretty high investment treats there. That you could get looked like they had like cake.
Well, yeah, like it was. You could get dessert and stuff there too.
And I was excited to see the scone, but then the scone was stuffed with bacon or something.
Oh, it's good. It was maple and bacon. I love like the sweet and savory type of things, but yeah, Bill wasn't really into that. The coffee was good. It was just like Vermont coffee, and
I'd be happy with the blueberry scone. But
okay,
yeah.
Because that's so boring. But yeah, they definitely didn't have a lot to choose from. But if you were going to eat breakfast there, I bet they would have something
probably
really cool. But we really didn't have time for that, and we weren't really that hungry, so. We kind of just grabbed something and go, but I would definitely recommend trying that restaurant too next time we go. It's much smaller.
Coffee was good.
Yeah, but and if you did just want to grab something quick, they also have a counter where you can get some baked goods or whatever, and then just grab a coffee if you want, which was fine. And if you're there, the actual lodge has a lot of great activities for you to kind of participate into. Like I said, we were there. It was winter, but there wasn't much snow. But you can go snowshoeing, skiing. They have like cross country skiing. You can even take like lessons. There's a nice pool area. They have like a whole fitness center where you can go and you can take like morning yoga classes or like water aerobics, which is really great. They'll do like tours for you. And I'm pretty sure, some of these things have like small prices. Some of the things are free. But you can do like a lodge tour where they'll tell you all about the Trapp family and do that. So, and if you're a lodge guest, typically those things are basically free. You can also visit for the day if you want to. And there is like a small fee for you to do some of those things. But if you can't spend the night, you can just visit for the day, and you might pay a small fee for some of these things, but it would be worth it. Mm-hmm. So there's lots of activities and stuff to do during the day. And like I said, there are things in Stowe. There are lots of great things. Another thing that we tried, I think, I don't know, it was before or after dinner. We took the kids bowling. There was like a small like bowling place that we went to and got some snacks or whatever, and the kids went bowling. I think that was while our youngest was napping, so we couldn't quite, do dinner or whatever yet. So that was kind of fun too, and that was in the area. I think there's a theater there too, but we didn't do like a movie theater, but we didn't do that. But that would be something kind of fun too.
They have a kids club, Mountain Kids Club.
Yeah.
Which was not open for us, unfortunately.
It might have been the next day.
It says here mid-June through...
Oh, okay. So, yeah, we didn't participate in it. But, yeah, the kids club is nice. I think your child has to be at least 3?
3 and potty trained.
Okay, right. So, that's where they got us because our child is 3, but not potty trained. But the older kids can do something, and that's in the fitness center. I actually saw that when we were kind of, considering going swimming. And they also have like a rock climbing wall, which was really cool. We have pictures of all this stuff, so we'll kind of post it on our website for you to see when we do kind of a review.
Itisallworthit.com.
Yes. So you can kind of see the pictures and, some of the activities that we did while we were there. Which was great.
What do you think about the rates?
I think they're reasonable. I wouldn't say inexpensive. I think we spent it was under $300.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's too bad when it comes when you're thinking about all the activities that you can do while you're there. I mean, you don't have to do much else. Like you could spend a night or two there and just do like the lodge tour. You can go to the fitness center. You can do the rock climbing wall. You can, go snowshoeing or do summer activities. And when all of those things are kind of included, it does kind of make it worth it. Because, you can go to a cheap hotel and spend under $200, but then you're going to be spending all this money trying to do all these activities, especially if you have kids, which is kind of cool. They also have, what kind of seemed to me like almost like a timeshare. They have guest houses and villas that you can do. I don't know if they're, houses you can purchase. I think they're more like a timeshare that you could do at the Trapp Family Lodge. It's not actually in the lodge. There's like different houses and villas, which we just briefly got to see, but that was pretty cool.
I heard it's a musical cult.
Maybe. But those look kind of new too, and that'd be kind of interesting to check out, like if you wanted to rent like a house or a villa for a week, which would be a lot of fun maybe during the summer.
Yeah, definitely. No, it was a really great time. We really enjoyed it. So I do want to go back, and I'd love to go back. And maybe check it out in more detail. I do think it's a place that just adults can go.
Oh yeah,
and have a good time. And,
it's kid friendly too. Yeah. So
I saw some people just sort of lounging, like reading a book.
You're very jealous.
And I just said to myself, someday that'll be me. And it's not
when
now.
their kids club is open, we can go and do fun activities with the kids, and then maybe have an hour or two where we can drop the kids off and go to dinner. I think there's a spa there too, right? Is there a spa?
I believe so.
Which we obviously didn't have a lot of time for it, but there's different things that you can do there. But regardless, there's lots of activities that you can do there that would make it well worth your while. So, we weren't there for very long, but yeah, you could definitely have a lot to do if you spend a couple of days there. But you can also just go there for the day too, and you can do a couple things, and it would be relatively inexpensive. Like check out the brewery, do some of the, a winter activity or a summer activity while you're there. Check out the lodge, do a tour.
Yodeling.
Yeah. So do some water aerobics or yoga if you want to. So definitely.
Yeah, we like
cool
that.
Vibe.
A little of Austria, a lot of Vermont.
Yeah.
So from there, we loaded up the car again, and just as someone who was sort of tagging along here in a way, I said, well, how long is it going to be before we get to our next stop, which was the Mohonk Mountain Resort from
Mohonk Mountain House.
Mountain House,
Yep.
And it was 5 hours.
Yeah. New Paltz, New York. I think when I was checking out the directions, I checked out the directions that it was actually from our house, thinking, it would be closer to Vermont than it would be to New Hampshire, and I was very wrong about that because it's probably about 4 hours from our house, a little over 4 hours. but it is actually almost 5 hours, I think 4 hours and 45 minutes from Stowe, Vermont. So that was kind of interesting. So we had to obviously kind of get the kids ready and out pretty early in the morning. And
Thank
we had
goodness
to
for
plan
TV
something.
screens.
Yes,
van.
we do. The minivan does have a DVD player. And then we had to kind of plan something along the way because the kids are going to have to get out of the car at some point to have a break. So we had to be kind of strategic about that. And then we were, of course, going to make sure our youngest took a nap along the way. So after leaving Stowe, we stopped in, was it Waterbury, Vermont? And we did the Vermont teddy bear. I don't think Bill was all that thrilled about that, but it got the kids out of the car, and it was, a good way to kind of kill an hour or two before Jude had to take a nap. So we got the kids out of the car, and it was like $4 a kid, I think, to take a tour of the Vermont Teddy Bear Factory, which
for
was
about $100 for a teddy bear, though.
Yes, of course, you have to be willing to spend like $60 on the teddy bear once the tour is done. So
That's where
definitely
they get
keep
you.
that. Yeah.
How can you go there without getting a teddy bear?
So we did the tour, which was very cute. I thought for like $4, they show you every step along the way that they make these teddy bears, and it's pretty elaborate. There a lot goes into making these teddy bears, and they show you every part of it, and they even give you like a little bit of the fur and like a pin that you can put on your clothing, and which was really cool. And our kids were really into that. They even have like a teddy bear hospital. So if you do buy a Vermont teddy bear and the arm falls off, if your eyeball falls off, you can send it to the Vermont Teddy Bear Hospital, and they'll fix it for you. So that was really cute. So we did the tour there, which I would recommend, but just keep in mind that the teddy bears are pretty expensive. They do have kind of like a little like Build-A-Bear type of thing. That's like for the Vermont teddy bear, and those bears are relatively cheaper versions of Vermont teddy bears. They're like $20, but then they'll make it for you in front of you, and then you could pick an outfit for it. But of course, by the time you pick the outfit, you're probably spending closer to $40 or $50. But then they have the store, and of course, our kids all wanted to pick something out. Our youngest just picked out like a little teeny bear, which was fine, but our daughter wanted like the $60 bear with the dress. So we let them have that as kind of their souvenir for their trip, our trip that we were going on. So that was fine, but it was pretty cool. We did take a lot of pictures, so we'll be posting that on our website too, so you can kind of see that. And I think I would recommend that as kind of a fun,
It's good stuff.
Yeah. So that was kind of a neat trip. So that was a little less than halfway on our way to New Paltz. It's probably about an hour and a half away from Stowe, Vermont. And then after that, we just kind of headed straight through to New Paltz, New York, which is upstate New York, which is a nice area. I don't think there's a ton to do in New Paltz, New York.
No, it was really in the middle.
It was
of
kind
nowhere.
of the middle of nowhere. I do think we didn't get to do it on this trip because we didn't think our kids would really enjoy it. But there are some museums, and I think there's the FDR, the Franklin Delano Roosevelt house that you can kind of stop. And we thought when we stopped there again, if we weren't with the kids, that we might
the Presidential Library.
Yeah, we might make a trip there. So if you don't have kids or you have older kids, that might be a kind of a neat place to stop. But honestly, like if you're going to the Mohonk Mountain House, there's so much to do on the resort that you could essentially just stay on the resort, and there is so much to do that I really don't think that you have to really.
I was super impressed when we were driving. We finally saw it. You sort of drive you're in the middle of nowhere for a while, and then eventually you make a turn onto this mountain road, and you drive up, and then there's a gate, and you drive through the gate, and you keep driving around and around. And eventually you see this thing, and it looked like Hogwarts, from our car.
You just have to go onto. We'll once again we took a ton of pictures of this place, but you just need to go onto the website and check this place out because This is something that I saw a couple weeks ago when I was looking up family-friendly resorts, and when I saw it, I was like, I don't care how much this costs. We're going to stay here at least for a night. So, and it is pricey. It is a pretty expensive place to stay, to be honest. But I mean, it's like an experience like no other. It was built in like 1869, I believe, and we just sat in front of it for a while, and I was taking tons of pictures, like panoramic pictures of it. If you go on the website, I mean, it's gorgeous on the outside, on the inside.
We hear a lot of notables from New York visit it regularly. I overheard a waitress saying, "Yeah, Bill and Hillary were here recently." Yeah. Some of the New York Yankees go there regularly. So it's just a beautiful historic building. It's just one of those places where you could just like the Trapp resort. This is just a place you can just sort of walk around, but this dwarfs the Trapp resort. In terms of size.
This place is definitely, but it's it's also a lot more expensive too. I will say that if you do plan on going to the Mohonk Mountain House, you can find deals. You just have to be kind of strategic. I mean, you may not want to visit it on the most popular times. If you're like an avid skier or, certain times during the summer that you want to go there, you might be paying a good amount of money. But they do have deals. It's kind of an all-inclusive resort, so you're spending a good deal of money, but everything is included. I mean, everything. So you get there and they provide you breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I mean, they don't skimp. It was, the meals are gorgeous, like the main dining room. I guess they used to have these 3-course meals, but I guess it's relatively new that they're doing buffets now, which is what they had when we were there, which is great if you have kids because they can kind of see all the food that's there and kind of be choosy about it. It's also great because you don't have to wait for them to prepare it. You pick what you want and you go back to the table and kind of enjoy it. So that was really great for us.
I'm usually not a fan of buffets because often the food quality drops, but not this buffet. This is
they're like almost
stations.
I may not even want to call it a buffet. It's more like stations. I mean, the chefs are right there.
They make it in front of you.
Yeah, and a lot of the food, they're asking you how you want it, and then they prepare it for you. But I mean, it's quick. But it was great. And they have this big dessert buffet that our kids loved. But all of the food is included. So when you're thinking about staying there for the night, keep that in mind because you don't have to leave the resort. I mean, it's thousands of acres. You can do everything right on the resort. And we're the type of people that we don't like to hang out in a hotel. We definitely like to get outside and do things. But you can stay right on the property and do tons of things. So if you're going to stay there for the night, keep in mind that all your meals are included. There's tons of activities to do. I mean, they have lots of things in the morning. They have yoga that you could do. They have strength training, all sort of exercise classes.
They have lectures from authors.
Movies, lectures,
tours
that you can do. They have, there's tons of trails that they have a whole map of all the trails that you can do, cross-country skiing, snowshoeing. You could just walk the trails if you want to. They have this beautiful ice skating pavilion, which our kids, they enjoy ice skating, and we did take some pictures of that, but and it's all free. So the ice skating's free, and then if you need ice skates, those are free. So our kids went ice skating for a while and they loved that. And they have a whole pavilion, which we didn't bring our ice skates because we thought it would be too warm to go ice skating. But for some reason they keep it cool enough in the pavilion so that they were able to ice skate. And then they have this beautiful fireplace there too, where you can warm up and have hot chocolate and all of that. And that's all included. So we did that.
It's a total experience. I mean, it's not just a place you stay, not just any resort. It's an experience. Again, it's just one of these places I'd love to go back to. Just with Maria. We might do that. She has a birthday coming up, so it might be something that we do. I mean, honestly, it was a cool thing too. The ice rink was really great. Our daughter Ella skated for the first time there. She's really excited about that. So she sort of fell in love with ice skating, and we signed her up for a learn to skate program, and that was made it more memorable, which is cool.
Our oldest son is, he's a hockey player, so he ice skates all the time. They do have kind of ice skates that have like toe picks on it. So my son was kind of regretting not bringing his ice skates because he has hockey skates. So he's finding a little bit of a struggle to skate with the skates that were provided there. So keep that in mind. If you're someone that enjoys hockey skates, then definitely bring your own because they don't have those. But our youngest wanted nothing to do with with the ice skating. We're hoping he gets out of that because our kids love to skate.
Right, so bring your best camera if you do decide to stay at this place, because you'll get some great pictures. And it was the service, as far as the service is concerned, whether it's the restaurant or the valets, they're just fantastic. You drive right up to the front, and they take your bags, and they take your car. You basically just get out of the car.
Yeah, once again, all included. So they tell you don't even tip. Like it's essentially all inclusive. You've already paid for everything.
Right.
So the valet, everyone is being paid a percentage of that. So you can, even you're thinking, well, I'm not tipping, so they're not getting a tip. That's not true. They do get a percentage of that. I did ask. So they also have a award-winning spa. I think it was actually voted the best spa in the country, which is amazing, which we did not get to do.
I mean, think about it, the best spot in the country.
And I mean, honestly, I don't doubt it. And we will definitely be going back and trying that out, and we'll let you know how that is. But they do have a kids club there too, but you have to be careful because I guess there are some weeks it is closed. And
like
last
our week.
Yes.
Like the week we were there.
When we were there.
That was
they
awesome.
did not have a kids club, but it is open most times during the year. So definitely look into that if you're bringing kids. They have an amazing kids club where they have all these different activities for them to do. And it's not like they just hang out in a room. They actually have really cool activities for the kids to do during kids club, and they have a whole activities calendar. So that's really cool. And I'm pretty sure the age is 2. They can go as early as the age of 2, which is kind of cool if you're comfortable with that. I don't know if our 2-year-old would actually, when he was 2, would actually go there. I don't know, but if he would, it would be great because he would be with his older siblings, so I'd be fine with that. And that would be kind of cool.
What do you think about the food factor with the kids? Do you think? Yeah, it might be a little. I mean, maybe it's different other times, but
our kids can be pretty picky. But I mean, I think they all found something. And what I really liked about the resort too, because you're always intimidated when you have children with something like this. You're wondering if you're going to feel out of place because you have children. I mean, I heard that it was a family-friendly resort, but obviously when you walk in and you see something this fancy, you think to yourself, like, I thought we made a mistake at first. Is this really going to be family-friendly, even though they have a ton of family-type activities? We went into the main dining hall, and we thought, like, I don't know. We didn't see many kids there at first, so we thought... I
felt way underdressed.
Yeah.
I felt like...
we didn't bring anything fancy, so...
Yeah, I had my jeans.
But we weren't. There was plenty of other people that were, they weren't dressed. And then we saw other people coming in with kids and babies and things like that, so we were fine. And the staff was so attentive. Like, they... as soon as we sat down, they were asking us if, we were happy with the service and if we were happy with the food and if there was enough for our children to choose from. So they were right on top of that. So they made us feel welcome. And I didn't feel out of place at all having kids. I really felt like they catered to us, which was really great.
No TV in the room, though, which...
Yep.
I like the idea of not having a TV in the room, but it's part of me that says...
well, when we're with kids, sometimes at night, you want them to relax to it. Yeah.
That's right. So definitely think it was, in both cases, the Trapp and the... Mohonk Mountain House, both I think are, very much worth it. Even with the long drive, it's a nice drive. So we didn't switch off. Usually it's a bad sign when I'm like, okay, I need you to drive me. But I was fine. I made it through. So anything else? Do you think that's? I think we covered.
Well, we'll definitely. Check out our website, www.itisallworthit.com, and we'll be posting some pictures soon about our trip and some reviews and a little bit more details about the Von Trapp Lodge and also the Mohonk Mountain House. And feel free to post some comments, or if you have any questions, or if you have been to either one of those places and you have some suggestions or comments, then by all means share. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah, also check out our Facebook page. It's all worth it. Just search us on Facebook and let us know what you think. If you hear that door squeaking, I think that is
one of our children not
that
sleeping.
is one of our that is a 3-year-old who just sort of climbed out of bed. But I'm glad you did now because we're just about done. So again, itisallworthit.com, or it's all worth it on Facebook. Check us out. Let us know what you think, and we will talk to you next time. Take care.